Consider an act on the draft water reclamation facility #1 decision matrix. Eric?
Yes, so last month I reported to ask folks to put in their comments. And so I received comments from a number of directors, forwarded that to the engineer Carollo. They took those comments into consideration and essentially revamped the whole matrix. So what you saw last month has changed. We did send it out last week, but essentially refining the criteria and sub-criteria, putting weighting or rather scoring criteria to the sub-criteria, reducing the criteria from 7 to 6 of them. And then also what's going to be real important, I think, for you as you kind of migrate through this is the definitions page, which is this. That gives you a really nice idea of what it's trying to get you to think about in terms of the criteria itself. This is our 7th one. There'll be 3 in January. Seventh districts already do it. You are, and then 3 in January. What the other districts have done, most of them, I think all of them have gone through this. A couple did something in addition to, but basically a couple of them went through the definitions if you need. Most didn't, some do, just so everybody kind of hears it if they didn't come, having already read it. And then once that was established, then you basically kind of go through the comparison worksheet and kind of talk it through. Some are going to be real easy. 1, 1, 1. Yep. We all say ones. Okay. Ones it is. Others, there might be 2, 2, and there'll be some dialogue. And so it's been real good organic dialogue just to say, okay, what, you're at 2 versus 3. Tell me why, and vice versa. And so there's been some really good conversation amongst the boards in kind of working through this. So with John not here, I do want to share with you that he had indicated to me that he was not going to be here, and he requested a meeting with Carollo to have them walk through what you're seeing here for him, and we did do that for him last week. So he did have this and had an opportunity to have a meeting with Carollo to go through all of this. So I don't have a specific set sheet for him, but I don't know how you want to handle any of his vote if you want it. If maybe there's a tie, maybe I can grab his and see if he's the tiebreaker. We could do that. That was one of my suggestions. If it's already 3 or 4, I mean, it's kind of done. So, so that's kind of what we've done so far.
Did I read somewhere about you're doing a scoring in January? But I thought there's a note from you.
No scoring in January. Through 3 months, didn't have December meetings, and we'll do it in January.
Gotcha.
This is not due and final to Carollo until the end of January.
Mhm.
So we do have an opportunity to modify if we needed to.
Mhm.
That's maybe where I could, pull John's input in, and we can finalize it if you like.
So your recommendation is that we just go through them one at a time and then take a vote? Okay.
Yeah.
Before we start, I would like to say that in reading it, I struggled a lot really with the safety topic. And finally, I reconciled that. Well, look, I don't think any engineer, anybody's going to build anything that's not safe.
Right.
I use the example with my wife. We get out here on a 2-lane highway and I'm going 70 miles an hour this way and another guy's going 70 miles an hour this way with a couple of feet. That's not safe, but we do it. And we take certain mitigation factors into consideration to get it done, to get where we're going. So, I think you used the example, chlorine is not safe, but yet when you use it in a treatment plant, there are factors you implement and procedures you implement to lower the risk.
Absolutely.
So what I did, I just took safety out and said, I don't think we're going to build anything that's not safe or has certain procedures and things built into it to mitigate that risk. So that helped me come to decisions on some of the
And I was
categories.
similar thinking. I was just, and if that being the case, I had the same view. Why does safety in that context have the same weighting as some of these other things, as 1/6 weighting it just seemed like the safety is somewhat a no-brainer that you're gonna build a safe facility.
Yeah, the facility is gonna meet minimum criteria for safety. It's gonna meet OSHA and it's gonna have handrails and all the non-slip
Yeah.
stuff. It's gonna have all those general things in there. It really kind of was talking about, there are other things you can design into the facility to increase safety, particularly in the chemical side of things, and there's alternatives, but the result of going a different direction could be more costly, to be more safe. So, if you value cost, over that, then it's a clear decision. Cost would reign. If you feel like, no, every safety measure we can possibly take, including the extras, that's what you want, then that's what you need to vote, in that regard. So, yeah, I don't disagree with the comment.
And that was the approach I took initially. And then I got to think about, well, that overrides, really in my world, it should be in the construction and implementation, safety should be a primary factor. And it would just help me come to some reconciliation on some of the categories.
Another, when I was reading on the life cycle cost, for me, just having them present a net present value over 50 years for the 4 cases is not going to do it for me. Net present value, to me, kind of hides a lot of things. And how did they do the net present value? What were the actual project costs? I'd like to see the meat and potatoes of the cost estimates and what things cost and what the O&M costs were. I just don't want to see a net present value and say, okay, there's that number versus that number. Okay, that's it. That's not going to cut it for me, just seeing a net present value, personally.
Yeah, it says in there that they would include the capital and O&M costs. It does say it on there. So I would expect that comes through.
So there would be a base cost in all those cases. And then, if you will, an escalation cost.
That's my understanding.
Okay, yeah, I think that would help answer this question.
Escalation costs, I don't know.
Pardon?
I mean, an escalation cost, what do you mean by that? I mean, I know what escalation is, but
Well, in going through the net present value, there's several considerations, what interest rate are you gonna assume? Does it vary over time at different times? Or is it constant? What is it? So that for me plays an important part. And I think,
agree.
and I think there needs to be some sort of an agreement with the people scoring it. But take, for example, the easiest case to illustrate is if it's a new plant. I mean, probably in that would be more known than some of the other cases where you're, forecasting out the future. But you take that current cost and you're there almost. I mean, then it's a question of comparing it to other options.
Anyway, I think for me, I'd like to see a lot more detail than just an NPV. You have some different variations and assumptions for the NP. I agree with all of that. That has to be done, but I like to see the absolute cost and things myself. On the comment on the community impact, it was interesting that given the woodlands, I mean, it seems like they would put in a comment there about, maybe it's implied in there about, tree removal and other environmental impacts on the community, in terms of aesthetics of the impact. It doesn't really say anything about that. Maybe it's implied.
Yeah, so it talks about odor, noise, and aesthetics, and keep in mind, the community impact is more focused on during construction. So that's something key to remember as well, is that it's focusing on those things. I mean, after it's done, noise isn't going to be any different. Aesthetics are going to be cleaned up. It'll be behind the, you're not going to see it like you do today.
Well, odor is not a case of that. It's an ongoing.
Odor is going to be probably no different, better or worse, depending on the technology. There may be one of the options that are, address odor a little bit more than the others, perhaps. But community impact would be more focused on during construction.
Okay.
Which there's not a big community impact in this project, even during construction.
And sorry, my last comment on the community impact and the sub-criteria sustainability, when it says, what is the power usage for the alternative? What does that have to do with anything other than the O&M cost?
I'd have to ask. I don't know the
Yeah,
specific on
yeah.
that.
Yeah, just
If there's, additional power or temporary power that's needed during construction, perhaps. I don't know.
But that's an O and M issue. Anyway, it was just sitting there. It didn't seem like it applied.
So the easiest thing is to go through them one at a time and vote on it? Okay,
And it hasn't been very formal. It's just kind of looking around. I see 3 ones. Okay.
Yeah.
Wanted it, that type of thing.
I struggled with the safety thing as well. I came from an industry that we made explosives. And so safety was just baked into our engineering, our quality control. So I struggled with it. And I wouldn't put, although I put ones for the first 4 or first 4 out of 5, but I wouldn't put it over safety. I mean, I wouldn't be willing to gamble on someone's health or life or death based on money, or a few bucks anyway. I might, if it were millions, be willing to take a risk if it were reasonable, but not the way it's structured here. So anyway, I just, you'll hear some, so that rationale for me caused some force to pop up down the line here.
Sure.
I have a couple too.
Yeah, I'd say let's get into it.
Let's
Let's
do it.
have a discussion, yeah.
Criteria 1 versus 2. What do we have?
Vote
Yep.
1, life cycle cost.
I have ones with all but number 3.
Steve?
One,
Okay, we all have 4 ones there.
There you go. All right.
1 versus 3.
Use of existing infrastructure versus license.
I have 1.
You're going to line by line. Okay,
Yep.
Yeah.
Right down.
sorry.
Life cycle cost for me again.
Yeah, me too.
I have a 1.
yes, I agree.
4 to 1.
Okay.
4 ones.
Yep.
Lifestyle cost and safety,
Life cycle cost because of what I
right?
said at the
In
beginning.
the context of our discussion,
Do
yeah.
you have a 1 there or do you have a
There's a 1.
4? You have a 4?
Oh, you're talking to me? I
Yeah.
put a 4 down. Yes, sir.
So we have 3 ones
Okay.
and a 4 and 1 4.
Okay. 1 it is.
But you ought to note what are the reason why,
It doesn't matter.
okay,
The next one, lifestyle cost versus construction and sequencing.
I'm again with life cycle cost.
1.
I have a 1.
I have a 1.
same. me.
4 ones. Lifestyle cost and community impact.
I'm again, the community impact is more during construction, so I fall back on life cycle cost for the duration.
Me too.
Yes.
Same for me.
4 ones.
All right.
Criterion 2 versus 3.
I vote use of existing infrastructure in that category.
I have a 2.
I have a 2. You have a 2 or 3?
3.
2 2s, 2 3s.
Okay. I'm gonna tag that one. Do you want me to
See what's,
get John's
see
insight
what
on that?
John's was here.
Um,
2 versus 4.
Again, I went with 2, operations and maintenance, because of the comments I made at the beginning.
I have a 4.
I have 4.
I have 2, again, in
2,
the context of
2
how we're viewing.
2 2s and 2 4s.
I'll tag that one as well.
2 versus 5.
I have constructability and sequencing, or 5 for that category.
I have a 5.
I have a 2. Steve?
I think I would say 5 on that one.
Okay, so it's 3
3
5s.
Perfect.
2 versus 6.
Is that 3? 3 5s and 1 2. Excuse me. Go ahead.
I did put community impact in that category for my choice, number 6.
I have 2.
I have 2.
2.
3 2s and 1 5.
Got it.
1 6, I'm sorry. 3 versus 4.
Again, I picked number 3 based on my first opening comments.
Yeah.
I have a 4.
I have a 4.
I have a 3.
2 3s, 2 4s.
Okay.
3 versus 5.
Have a 3 in that category.
As do I.
I have a 5.
I have a 5. 2 3s, 2 5s. 3 versus 6.
I have 3 in that category.
I have a 3.
I have a 3.
4 3s.
Okay.
4 versus 5.
That line item is a 5 based on my opening comments.
4.
4.
5.
2 4s, 2 5s.
Okay.
4 versus 6.
Community impact for me, again, same statement.
4.
4.
During construction, I would say 4.
So it's 3 4s and 1
Yep.
6. And then 5 versus 6.
I have a 5 in that category.
I have a 5.
I have a 5.
And I have a 5.
4 5s.
All right. So let me read these back, and just for the ones that aren't decided, I'll just say tie break, or I'll say John or whatever. But I'm gonna go right down. So I got 1 1 1 1 1 tie break, tie break. 5 2 tie break, tie break. 3 tie break, 4 5. Is that what everybody got?
Yes.
Okay. So I will work with John, get his insight. He's got quite a bit of input, which is great. Then he'll be able to begin, and I'll finalize those numbers, and I'll be holding those until the end of January. The consultant doesn't need them till the end of the January, and a couple folks said, well, let's just keep them to ourselves until they don't need them, until they need them. So
I agree with
happy to
that.
do that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
So what's the procedure? You're going to submit 1 score sheet for each mud?
Correct.
And are the 10 muds the only ones voting on this?
I understand SDRA has some votes or vote as well. They'll have input. So I think they'll fill theirs out as well.
And does Woodland Water staff vote?
If not,
Did any other MUDs have question about, like we did about the safety?
a little bit. Safety was, safety, I would say across everybody is honestly kind of mixed. Some put it higher, others didn't. 6 is not getting much play at all from anyone.
Mhm.
And where it's probably laying is a lot of 1s and quite a few 3s.
Mhm.
And then the 4s and 5s are kind of mixed. This is kind of where it goes. You're fairly consistent with the rest. There was one definite outlier that was, I think, surprised a lot. But it was good. I mean, we had great discussion across all the MUDs. So folks could really, feel like they could understand it. So I thought it was really good. So I'll work with John, and then I guess I know he's out. I'm going to be out next week, so I may just send him a note to maybe fill his out and get it to me after the first of the year. And then when we all get back, I'll grab it and then, compare it with this and get his tie breaks set up. And then I can report back to the whole board in January on what it ended up.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Item 4, consider and authorize Carver Engineering recommendation of award for retail wastewater collection system rehabilitation year 2 and authorize WWA to proceed.
Okay, so as you know, a few years ago, the retail sewer system was evaluated, smoke testing, televising, visual inspection of the manholes, and to identify the condition of the retail side, on the sanitary sewer side. There were a number of things that were identified in that evaluation that needed to be addressed. It was agreed upon that it would be broken into 3 phases or 3 years, just to defray or spread the cost so it wasn't in one big lump, so it didn't have any rate impacts to it. And so a couple of months ago, year 1 was complete. While year 1 was in construction, year 2 was in design. And so year 2 design was just approved by government agencies a couple months ago. And then this is what you're seeing tonight or today, which is the results of the bid of year 2. And then once this gets into construction, well, year 3 is now starting design as well. And then that'll be in next year's budget. To summarize, the TCEQ rules require that you concur with the recommendation of award of the contract, so you can authorize the contract to proceed. That's this process. It's a kind of administrative, but still we need to go through it. We did receive 2 bids. These were public bids. We received 2 bids, one from Texas Pride and one from NBT. Ironically, Texas Pride was the contractor that just completed year 1. So I think that had some to do with their low bid in that they were, familiar with the folks involved. They were familiar with the system and they knew what they were getting into, would be my guess. So they were the low bid. They did a decent job with phase 1. So there was no reason to kick them and go to bidder 2 or a couple $100,000 total.
Eric, could I ask a question on, I gotta confess, I don't remember the amount from the year 1, but how did the actuals come in compared to that estimate?
Within $1,000.
Wow. Did we get all of the line items
but-
performed?
You're talking about this sheet, or are you talking about the actual work that was done?
Talking about year 1.
Oh,
This is year 2.
Year 1 came under. The actuals, and there was a change order to actually reduce that project at the end due to some field things that they ran into that we didn't need to do. So there was some contingency bid items that weren't needed, I guess is a better way to say that. And so the long story short is that project actually came under the bid of the final
So
number.
that would imply that there's good reliability on this bid as well then.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
No reason to doubt that. That also kind of what goes into Garver's recommendation of award to award the contract to Texas Pride. And also due to the fact that the bid actually came in right at the estimate, engineer's estimate, this is in line with your budget as well that we budgeted.
And what is this one budgeted for year 2? It's just compared to what this.
I don't have that actual number in front of me. Your share of this project.
Not my share, our share, but just the overall project. You said this is $1.4 million and change. So what's the overall project budget that WWA had for the?
Yeah, we go off the engineer's estimate, which was 1.446. This came in at 1.47.
Okay.
So
Let me
yeah,
ask a related question. Is, for example, let's just take Mud 67, there's 93,000 in here plus change. Is that included in our fiscal year 24-25 budgets already?
correct. Yes.
All 93 of it? Okay. That would be true of all the others as well?
Correct.
Okay. Okay,
We have a motion.
So move.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Are there any other items to come before us? We are adjourned. Jim?
All right.
Jim, I need your sheet.
Okay.
Thank you.
Everybody have a Merry Christmas.
Merry
You too.
Christmas.
Christmas to the staff. These copies here for somebody else when I used to waste a tree.
Sure. Yeah, we'll have a few others in January.
I said already, so.
Question. I know one of the analysis, one of the identified sources of info was the
Yeah.
ring and covers. And that was heavily encouraged to go and seal those in low-lying areas. You know if that's part of this, or was it done already, or?
We did it. Yeah. We didn't use the rubber stoppers.
Understood, but they were sealed, corrected. Per the regulation.
Like 97 of them or something like that. Yeah, Randy, like I said, just get it done.
Good deal.
Yep.
Thank you.
Oh, and, I don't think, I think this happened after your meeting. We have started running the ditches. So, we've done Harper's, we've done, your several ditches, the Mary's ditch and the other one below it, and then the other one west of it. So we're sorting through, going through. We're creating an app, or Hark has created